You know, we're always hearing about the big, flashy names in tech. But what about the companies that are actually building this stuff inside all our gadgets? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of those companies, Micron Technology, and dig into the absolutely incredible story of how it pulled off a massive transformation in the super competitive world of semiconductors.
All right, to really get what happened here, we've got to start with the final result. Because honestly, it's pretty shocking, and it sets the stage for this entire story.
Just look at these numbers. So the NASDAQ 100, which is packed with all the tech giants, gave a solid 95% return over 5 years. Not bad, right? Well, Micron stock just blew it out of the water with over 319%. I mean, that's not just a little better, that's more than triple the rest of the tech market. This isn't just a lucky break, it tells you something really fundamental changed inside this company.
So that brings us to the big question, right? The one we're here to unpack. How in the world did a memory chip company do this? This industry is famous for its brutal boom and bust cycles, where one year you can't make chips fast enough and the next nobody wants them. So was this just dumb luck, or was there something more going on?
To figure that out, you gotta follow the money. So let's do a little financial forensics and break down the anatomy of this turnaround, from a really painful downturn to absolutely record-breaking profits.
And this chart really shows you just how brutal 2023 was. Revenue basically fell off a cliff, dropping by almost half, down to $15.5 billion. But then look at the rebound. It was just as dramatic, rocketing up to a record $37.4 billion by 2025. I mean, that perfect V-shape tells you everything you need to know about their resilience.
And it wasn't just about selling more stuff. This is about profitability. In 2023, they were bleeding cash, losing a staggering $5.8 billion. That's a negative 37.5% margin. But in just 2 years, they pulled a complete 180, turning that into an $8.5 billion profit. That is an unbelievable comeback.
And this wasn't some one-time fluke. When you zoom in and look at the quarterly numbers, you can see the momentum building. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. It starts at about $5.8 billion, then it just accelerates every single quarter, ending with a massive record-breaking $13.6 billion in the last quarter of 2025. This company was hitting its stride, for sure.
But at the end of the day, you know what they say, cash is king. And this chart, well, this is the ultimate proof of their turnaround. Their cash flow from just running the business exploded by nearly 7 times in 2 years. They basically turned the company into a cash machine, which is exactly what you need to fund new research, make smart investments, and, of course, keep your shareholders happy.
Okay, so we've seen the incredible financial recovery. That's the what. But now we get to the really fun part, the why. Because this turnaround was no accident. It was the result of a very deliberate and very powerful strategy.
So how'd they pull it off? Well, they got smart. They laser-focused on 5 key high-growth areas: data centers, automotive, mobile, PCs, and the industrial sector. By making their memory and storage absolutely essential for everything from AI and the cloud to self-driving cars and 5G, they basically wove themselves into the very fabric of our tech future.
But there was one area that was the key to unlocking all this growth, and that was artificial intelligence. See, Micron became a leader in something called high bandwidth memory, or HBM. The best way to think about it is this. If a powerful AI chip is a Formula One race car, HBM is the giant 10-lane superhighway it needs to get its fuel, the data, instantly. It's the secret sauce that makes those huge AI models we're all hearing about actually work.
So why is this HBM stuff such a big deal? Well, it is the engine that powers AI. It's absolutely essential for training large language models. It's the backbone for the next generation of cloud computing. And here's the real kicker. Because the demand for AI is this huge, long-term trend, it helps insulate Micron from those crazy, volatile cycles of the PC and smartphone markets we were talking about earlier. Now, what's maybe the most impressive part of this whole story is that they achieved all this growth without racking up a ton of debt. I mean, look at this chart. Their debt-to-equity ratio stayed pretty darn stable, even while they were pouring money into new tech. That's not just growth, that's smart, sustainable growth.
So when you put all these pieces together, you've got the incredible financial performance, you've got the brilliant strategic positioning, a whole new thesis for what Micron is starts to emerge. It's really a story about a fundamental transformation. And that brings us to the new Micron thesis. And it's built on 4 solid pillars. First, their unbelievable outperformance in the market. Second, their transformation into a financial powerhouse. Third, their genius strategic positioning right in the middle of the AI boom. And fourth, their disciplined execution that made it all happen. You put those together, and you've taken Micron from a company that was just riding the waves of the market to a foundational leader in the entire tech industry.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last really fascinating question. For decades, Micron's fate was tied to these volatile boom and bust cycles. But now that its technology is right at the heart of the massive long-term AI boom, has the company finally broken that cycle for good? Only time is going to tell, but its transformation has definitely rewritten the rules of the